Today's video, we're going to talk about should you add a scheduler or scheduling system to your landing pages, whether that be somebody who fills out the contact form on your landing page and then automatically having something so where somebody could take the next step to book an appointment or schedule your guys to go out to them to deliver that home service or whatever it is, or to have a secondary third option on your landing page for somebody to actually respond. That is calling, filling out the form, or having a way for somebody just book an appointment right away. I'm going to tell you why using Calendly by itself, as is having the booking be the only thing that you offer on your landing page, why that's a terrible idea, and why the two examples that I just gave you are a much better way if you're going to actually add a booking system to your landing pages, why that's going to make you by far more money from your ad traffic that you already have going to your landing pages right now. With that said, I'm going to give you the tutorial on how to actually add this to your website so you understand, basically what the process is, then ultimately what you'll get out of it. I have some case studies here that I'm going to talk about where we did this before for tax services, plumbing, mortgages, tax relief services, and the kind of results that we were getting there. And then with that, you'll have everything that you need by the end of the video to understand how to get the same kind of results for yourself. With that said, getting into the content. So the main reason why having a scheduling system on your website is going to make you more money, in addition to obviously, and not by itself being the only way to respond, via means of your landing page for people that click your ads and end up on your landing page. The reason why you get more profit from your ad spend that way is because different people have different means of preferred means of communication. Some people, and many people make this mistake, they'll have just a phone number on their landing page, or they'll have just a contact form on their website. No matter the instance, whatever market you're in, I promise you, if you just have one option, whether that be one or the other, and I don't care what market, you're going to make less money from your ad traffic than if you offered both. A lot of people don't like to have phone numbers on their website because they want to be able to make money on a beach somewhere and have some outsourced person in a different country answering the leads, or they don't care about form leads because they don't think the quality of them was very good, and the real quality leads, they just come through the phone. And that might be true in a great number of spaces. However, still, you'll get a few extra leads through that contact form. So basically what you're doing is you're getting the people who would be willing to contact you through the contact form, that they were expecting that actually going into your landing page. They're just not going to respond at all, so you're just going to get less leads. And obviously less leads means less profit. It's becoming more and more popular to have landing pages with a scheduling option directly on that landing page. To go along with what I just said, there's a lot of people's expectations are going to be that there's an option to do that, and they're going to be let down, and therefore they're just not going to respond. Or somebody can't call because they're in a noisy environment, but they hate filling out forms, and you have a fairly lengthy form, which, by the way, I've seen studies that show people would rather clean a toilet than fill out a contact form on a landing page, which should tell you a lot about how difficult it is to even put together a good landing page to begin with. So it's already asking a lot, even from somebody that is in market for what you're selling, to fill out that form. So when you have a booking system and they say, well, at least if I go through this process, I don't have to do anything else, it'll be worth it. Therefore, you're going to end up with more responses out of your traffic and what you're spending on ads, and therefore more profit from your ads. In other words, some people are going to prefer a booking system, some aren't. Some people will prefer to call, some people will prefer to fill out the landing page form on your landing page, and the more options you have, the more money you're going to make because of that. We would not grow your profit from your traffic you're driving to your landing page right now is when you only try to force them to go through that online booking system, because a lot of people are just simply going to have a question that they have to for sure get answered before they're willing to even do business with you. How much do you charge? Which you should have your pricing on your website anyway. Hiding it's dumb due to the studies that we've seen. Or can you come out on a Sunday or whatnot? Yeah, I know the scheduler or online booking system should take care of that, but you get what I'm generally saying here. There's just certain people who they want to be sure before they book anything or commit to anything that you do what their specific use case calls for, And so if you try to force everybody and funnel everybody through that booking system saying, I don't care about these damn tire kickers. If they don't want to book, fuck them. Because you're going to get a lot less people to just do business with you that way. I have it all the time in our advertising firm. People don't like to deal with people that are wishy-washy, but if you try to force everybody through an online booking system or just go through your website without calling and buy through your shopping cart, you're going to end up with less money because there's just certain people that have to ask questions first. Not only that, but booking systems themselves, the other reason why you'll lose money that way, trying to force everybody through a booking system without being able to ask a question, is because they're a lot of times cumbersome and they're not very good, they're not very streamlined. So you're asking people to do a lot, whereas if you just simply asked them to call, you would get overall more profit because it takes less activation energy to call than it is to actually go through that booking system. Despite what you think, it seems less to the user who's on that landing page. This is more relevant, more so with, I see people that will have, for instance, a tour. They're offering a tour, and because this is a client that we had is offering a tour, the phone number listed there, and then a contact form for people to inquire. This particular client wanted to force everybody to go through this online booking system, which they had a third-party service named Tock. It's at tock.com, tock.com, and they give through that service, they give you a embeddable widget to go on your landing page so people can book right away, the reason why you use that is because it syncs in with the calendar, and so there's no accidental double booking, and it also automatically has a e-commerce functionality to it, so as soon as you book, you can pay a deposit. They want to have people do that because they're not going to deal with people that are heading, if you will, or don't show up. Call and ask dumb questions. The reality is that's asking a lot from somebody who just came from a simple Google ads and was expecting a call, and they ultimately don't get what they want out of it because people get into the system, they're frustrated, very few complete it, and they're not just going to call because you wasted, they're tired now, then they're just going to leave. It actually hurt our conversions in that situation, having the system there to begin with. And I tried telling the client, they said, hey, you can have the online booking system there, but don't have it as the key thing you're trying to obviously push them towards. When the system in itself is not easy for them to go through. What you should do instead is to say, fill out the form, we'll call you right away and ultimately take you through the rest of the process. But for now, right now, we just need you to fill out the form, and we'll have somebody call you within 60 seconds filling out the form. Once you've got that, they've already committed to the process. You've stopped them from going back to Google to click on another provider's website, and you'll make the sale. Versus expecting them to go all the way through the system without talking to anybody, them being able to get frustrated at any point, and then just abandoning the whole process altogether. So the moral of the story here is, if you ask too much from the user up front, you're going to actually end up getting burned in terms of decreasing the ROI of your ad traffic that you have coming in, because you expected too much from your user when you don't have a decent relationship with that user built up yet, or any relationship at all, should I say. With that said, okay, now talked about how you can actually implement this onto your website. Now, I said that I would also give you some examples of how to implement this on your website, what the process is involved, what I would recommend to specifically do it if you're going to jump into it, how you're going to specifically make money from it, and how much you're actually going to make. So with that said, I mentioned that you have two basic, or if I didn't make it clear enough, you have two basic options to do online scheduling on your website if it's actually going to contribute to an increase in conversion rate versus actually decrease your cost, your ROI on your ad traffic you have going to your landing pages. First way of which is you offer as soon as this person fills out the form on your landing page, right away it says, hey, thank you for filling out the form. We'll have somebody contact you if you have any questions. However, if you're ready to just simply reserve a time or have a preferred time, you can click through and give us that time, and you'll get a certain percentage, depending on your niche, to actually go through that second step of the process that's optional. You make them, just to be clear, you make it known that we're going to deliver what we said we were going to deliver by filling out this form, regardless of you going ahead and booking a time. But this process it's going to be more efficient for you to book a time now. Then you don't have to worry about being available when our agent calls and so forth, and you can do that. It's optional, but saves you time. That's how you want to kind of word it or phrase it. So with that, you'll get an additional 10-20% of people just book right away. So there is no sales process. You just bypass the entire sales process, which that in and itself is going to give you about a 30% increase in ROI from your ad traffic, because as you probably know, or should know, I should say, there's only so many people who fill out the form that you're going to be able to reach. Now, you're going to reach a lot more people, a lot more percentage of the form leads you get by calling as soon as possible from the time that the form lead actually comes in, which I've talked about many times. But you'll never contact 100% of them. And ultimately, when you ask them while they're still on the website and still in buying mode, if you will, to just book a time right then, you're going to lock down a higher percentage of those users and prevent somebody that you may not have been able to get a hold of when you call an hour from now or a day from now. You decrease the amount, the actual amount of people that you're effectively not able to sell to because you couldn't reach them. You obviously solve a lot of that by following people up at least 10-15 times after they fill out the form until you do get a hold of them. But for the average person, based upon how, average response times, on form leads, that kind of thing, your typical, just asking them to reserve a time right after they fill out that form or book, if you have a booking engine that's halfway decent that you can use, whether you're in the spa industry or whatever, has to be halfway decent, has to load fast, not sketchy looking so people don't trust it. You'll get a 30% increase in ROI just by having that after they fill out the form. And more or less though, depending on, that would be average, more or less though, still based upon what percentage of the leads come through the form or phone. Obviously, more that come through the form, the more of an ROI bump you can expect. So that's method number one in order to get more profit from your ad traffic by having an online booking system on your landing page. I mentioned I mentioned that there was case studies that I was going to bring up here. One example where we did this, so you understand it could, basically work in your space, is in the tax services space. So this is like an accounting services. You got to hire a local accountant. Did very, very well. Plus 30% ROI at least for a local accountant that we were working with in a local market, where right away we did the technique that I just told you about. Right away when they filled out the form, we right away had the online scheduler so they could understand when specifically they could come in. That's all we had to do, 30+% increase in ROI. Bang, that's it. So that gives you, that should work. Basically, what you should derive from that is anything to do with professional services, you're going to get a 30% bump in ROI for your ad traffic. Now, this could apply for high-end products where you're developing leads to sell product that, or what have you. I encourage you to try it out, almost, for whatever you're doing, because it's just going to add extra profit for what you're doing. And especially if you get a lot of form leads currently, or you have a high percentage of the leads that come through that form. The only time that you wouldn't do that, by the way, is in situations where you like to pre-vet who you're dealing with. Certain people, they will have a form lead come in and then they'll have an initial person who filters the person out. So they'll get on the phone. It's a non-salesperson that asks a series of questions to find out if they have money, are they the right fit, so on and so forth. And then if they pass all those so-called tests, then they refer them on to the actual salesperson. You could have a filtering system like that, or, naturally you could look at you have questions on your form that filters people out, and based upon, you could have it programmed that if they don't say that they have at least this budget, this scheduling thing does not show up. You could create some logic in your system. But if you don't do that, what a lot of people at our agency will want to do is based upon the company itself, researching that company. We may not actually want to meet with them and say, hey, this is not a right fit. Send them an email, say, hey, this is not a right fit. I appreciate you contacting us, but we only work with companies that XYZ. So whereas I did what I just told you about, created an online scheduling, so if anybody filled out a form on our agency's website, now it doesn't make any sense to waste their time or ours if they don't meet certain requirements that we know they got to have for it to be a fit for our agency and the pricing that we have and the service we have and so forth. So that's something else to consider as a potential downside or problem with the system. But if you can work with just about anybody who responds, there's no reason not to do this, okay? Just flat out bottom line. Second way to use an online booker to make more money from your ad spend is to use the these online scheduler as a second, or should I say third way to respond, or if you're doing live chat, a fourth way to respond or option to respond. In that situation, you're not talking about, I'm not putting this case study in the realm of ROI increase, because the niche will vary this. But what you could generally bank on for sure is an increase in conversion rate on the traffic. If you, just like I mentioned before, if you have a phone call option when you only offered form submissions before as a way to respond on your landing pages, you're going to make more money from your ad traffic basically every time. And you're going to increase a percentage of people who hit your landing page that actually respond. Adding the online schedule, you'll add additional 30 to 100% higher conversion rates on the traffic you have going ahead and doing that. It's actually that much. Why is that? Because people often not having to talk to a salesperson at all. They're busy. And to give you some examples of this, in the plumbing space for one, this is a great example where you can easily understand it. If you have a broken toilet, do you really want to call somebody to book that? You probably just want to book a time through the landing page, right? It saves time. We were able to get plus 30% conversion rates in that space by having the online booking system. In that case, in order to get these kind of lifts, by the way, you'd want to put it higher up in your landing page, as they call it, above the folder without having to scroll. So you can call, or you can hit the online booker system. You can go ahead and fill out and go through the online booker system, or they can fill out the form. With the form actually being, in that case, we would push it further down the page in the online booker because it was such an attractive option, and it worked out even better that we just had that instead of the form fill right up at the top of the page for the user visibly right away. So that's one example where we used it to make got that kind of lift in conversion rates. We did this in the mortgage space, mortgage broker. So this is a little bit different implementation, but the primary offer on the landing page was, you have your number upright. They normally go to look for the number there. If they want to call, that's where they're going to look. But primary call to action on the landing page was apply for a mortgage right away, okay? Or see what rates and how much you would be eligible for. The national players all know this in this space. You have an immediate way to get a quote, and that's what you pitch. Local companies, though, want you to call them and then delay the whole process. So you're cutting any time you can make it easier to buy from you. You're going to end up with more profits. That's why this increases the profitability of your campaigns. So in that case, we just had like a 7-step process, which if you try to send them to a huge application, which I see a lot of people trying to do, they're not going to fill it out at a very high rate because it's too daunting. But in this case, we just had a series of 7 steps. It says step 1 of 7, what is the address of the place you want to go to? And then the address was an auto-populate thing. And then the second step would be, what is the size of the loan that you might be interested in? Blah, blah, blah. With that said, we got a lot of people to just go through that system, given it looks simple. And that goes along with what I said before. If you have an online booking system, if you will, where it looks hard and it's going to take a long time, you're basically wasting your time. So with the mortgage broker, we're not actually saying book a time per se. There's a twist on this, but we are saying, hey, you're here for a mortgage. We know that. Instead of making an appointment with me, go ahead and find out what we're going to offer you as far as a mortgage. And then at the end of the process, when you get the quote, okay, fill out the form here and we'll call you to go over what you've been just offered through the system. And that's how the end of the process worked. But so you should be thinking about how to save that user time as much as possible, but while also still not making the process too complicated. What's the bare minimum we need to ask here? And just ask that, but go further than just saying fill out the form and we'll contact you. You're going to end up with more money in that situation. This isn't a replacement of the sales process per se. It's helping the user get what they want a little bit quicker and easier on their end. So we did it in the mortgage space. Tax relief, same kind of deal. Instead of having a form or a phone call, how much do you owe on your back taxes? And having what they call a multi-step form where they answer that question, and then another question pops up, and so forth. Have a tax problem? See if we can help. boom, go that general direction with it, much higher conversion rates. We're talking closer to 100% increase in conversion rates that way. Instead of talking to a tax expert, fill out the form, you go ahead and you just skip right to what they ultimately want, what they would get with the salesperson anyway. Yes, it's harder to come up with a multi-step form like that in order to do that, but is it worth it for you to make twice as much money to do that? Yes, it is, obviously. So, and ultimately, if you're wanting to make a multi-step form like that, it's not that hard. You can use a landing page tool to do that, Unbounce being the one that we would use, or you just have somebody, web development firm, create one for you. My suggestion to you, by the way, would be to go ahead and have that kind of thing done in Unbounce, figure out, test it, make sure you got the right questions asked, then go to a web developer to make it really custom and perfectly set up the way that you want, so you know you're only paying for that once. But anyway, so this isn't, saying online booking per se, but it asks the question to get them the answer to if we can help them or not. Because ultimately, if they fill out the form, if you think about it, that is exactly what it is that they're filling it out for. Talk to a representative. The form is the representative. You're just asking for more questions. But if you ask for too much, then they're just going to abandon the process. You're wasting your time. You're trying to ask them minimal questions so they feel like they're just going to get an immediate answer without talking to the salesperson, but without going over the edge where it's too daunting. Then the best is at the end of the process, have them fill out their phone number in order to have somebody talk to them about the quote that's been given, and then immediately call it within 60 seconds of finishing that. Leads white hot. You can there's multiple softwares out there, I've talked about them on this channel before, where if somebody fills out that phone number, it can immediately call your salesperson or call center, say, John Smith just filled out the quote, and press 1 to get a hold of John Smith. You hit 1 on your phone, it immediately dials that person who just got through the process. While you're talking to them, you could pull up their quote on the phone, say, yep, looks like you did XYZ, got XYZ result. When would you like to go ahead and how would you like to, get this started in terms of payment? We have 3 different payment methods available to you. Which one would you like to pick? Cuts down obviously on the amount that can be screwed up by the salesperson, as well as the amount of stuff that they have to do. So all around, it's a much better deal to go this general direction with what you're doing. And as a side, by the way, this isn't the topic or title of this video, but with the same flavor of what I just mentioned here, you can actually say, hey, text for an immediate quote, or text now for an immediate answer as to whether we can help you with your tax problem. Text us a picture of your hole in your wall to see how much it would be to fix that hole in the wall. So respond through SMS is another way to kind of go ahead, offer another option for the person to respond. Instead of saying talk to a salesperson, get an immediate response as to what it is that you need to do so you can get the actual buying process started, and could go that general direction with it. But anyway, you get the general gist of what I'm trying to say here. Though, as it comes to the online ordering process, get them to order right away after they already respond through the form, or you could just have the online booking system there, either having a literal booking system or just having a series of questions and allowing the user to tell you what you would tell they would tell the salesperson on the phone anyway, and get them to the end quote that they're looking for, and have them then put their phone number then. A lot of people will do that, but they won't fill out the form even though they're there to actually speak to somebody. It's just more work to fill out the form than it is to answer one question and then answer another, because it doesn't seem as difficult. So in general, you're going to end up making many times more money having this third option for them to just book right away. Even though it's a little bit difficult to get going right away, I highly encourage you to test it out and see for yourself how much of a difference this can make on your conversion rate and or ROI of your campaign, because you're getting in contact with more of the form leads that you have going through your landing pages right now. If you have any questions, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours time. If you're looking for the best information that's going to help you make millions of dollars a year running ads for your business, this is the channel you want to subscribe to, as the information I'm providing you on this channel is coming from somebody who spends 40 hours a week doing ad testing to find out exactly what works and what doesn't work online, running ads on Google, Facebook, and so on and so forth online, because I manage 50 plus different ad accounts at any given time to find all this stuff out. This is unique in that 99% of the information you find online given to you about ad strategy is given to you by people that are just repeating what somebody else said. They're not really running any ads or very, very few ads. They just don't have that level of experience. So if you're going to pay attention to anybody and learn from anybody, you better learn in addition to what I have to share, because you're not going to find better information that's accurate anywhere else. I promise you that. So you should subscribe. You should also check out my blog on my site at guaranteedppc.com/blog, where I have actual strategies mapped out step by step with screenshots with the whole shebang there. That if you follow those, you will make money. And they're all stuff that we lean on to get guaranteed results for our clients at our firm. Yes, we actually offer guaranteed results. We run an ad agency. We promise so much increase in profitability of a client's ads up front. And unless we deliver that, we do not charge the fee that we say we're going to charge. We're the only agency out there that offers any kind of PPC services like that. Catch is we don't work with just any client. We got to know, hey, you got something great. We know we can crush it, and pick and choose who we kind of want to work with in that regard, because we don't waste our time, obviously, or waste yours. If you want to see, by the way, if it is possible for us to work together in that kind of regard, we do offer a free initial consultation where we can look over your business, your campaigns, see what kind of results we might be able to get for you using the strategies we know about, and then obviously what we can guarantee for you and for what price. So if you're interested in that, you can also reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com and ask for me. Beyond that, if you're not looking to work with an ad agency, but you manage your own ads, you want to manage your own ads. If we worked in your niche market before, you could take everything we've developed for your own niche market in a different geographic area than you're in, and literally copy and paste everything we use to be successful in your niche market into your ad accounts and get the same results we're getting with none of the work, none of the money, none of the time it took us to figure out how to get to those results in your niche market, and of which we can tell you what results we've got in your niche market so you know what you would stand to gain up front. We've worked in over 100 niche markets in the last 10 years we're operating this advertising firm, and of which, so therefore there's a really good chance that we've already done all the hard work of testing and figuring out exactly what works the best in your niche market, and you could just copy what we've done for your niche market after spending many times millions of dollars with the ad spend to figure it out for ourselves. And if we've worked in your niche market, I almost guarantee you're not getting the same results we have after testing what we have for a long time. And so therefore you should at least ask and see if we got those results in your market, because you can have the whole campaign funnel to copy and paste into your account to get the same results we are. We've got people using these templates to start whole other side businesses even, whether that be a lead generation business where they're selling leads to people in a space, which we've had several people do, or selling a product, a similar product that they're getting from China that's similar to a product that our client's selling in one market and they're selling in a different geographic market. And if it works in one, it'll generally work in the other, which you have basically turnkey results in an e-commerce business, selling a product that we already know sells great in one country and selling it in another. If you're interested in any of those other opportunities, you can also reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. But with that said, I'll wrap everything up with that. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.